Terrified you're going to catch another shoe in the head, weren't you? Test. Actually, you know what, if any one of us, we will be here tomorrow as well. It's really not that difficult. 6-year-olds, so I'm not sure what her upper limit is. She said 6 and up, but she's gearing it to kids. She's going to be teaching it here in Port Perry at the Dance Academy, just kitty corner from the edge of the fairgrounds here. It is on.
Left his body dead. There's a bucket of gold. Defensemen were steady, the wings they played are wide. They charged as one into the fray of battle.
Probably a little less vocal right across.
What's it?
Defenseman was steady, the wings they played are wide. They charged.
Sorry?
If you got the money, you can get yourself a honey.
Number 1, right?
Yeah.
Just one right one?
Me and my brother were 2 dead men going down with the ship. Was a game we played on a wreck and late command escape. Our heads were full of pirate stuff and the sunken boat was treasure enough to make our summer rich with dreams, fiendish plots and deadly schemes.
We were the ghosts on a sunken ship, drowned sailors on a reckless trip, flaunting our gruesome teeth and bones, haunting the deep with our shrieks and groans.
One day a stranger appeared on shore. He said, "Now lads, I'll tell you the story of how that boat she came to grief. I'll wager it's better than your make-believe. A stone-cold corpse was a cargo grim. When the boat went down there was none could swim, but 3 men clung to the dead man's box, floated to shore but the rest were lost.
We were the ghosts on a sunken ship, drowned sailors on a reckless trip, flaunting our gruesome teeth and bones, haunting the deep with our shrieks and groans.
Oh, to hear that tale so deftly told shone in our hearts like pirate gold, and we'd repeat the words until our blood ran cold with a fresh new chill. Some days we'd act out ghastly scenes with flailing arms and drowning screams, and drop like stones to the sunken deck and lie all still in the arms of death.
We were the ghosts on a sunken ship, drowned sailors on a reckless trip, flaunting our gruesome teeth and bones, haunting the deep with our shrieks and groans.
Now that was a summer when I was 10, and I'd love to live those days again, to be once more for childhood's sake a howling ghost on a haunted lake.
We were the ghosts on a sunken ship, drowned sailors on a reckless trip, flaunting our gruesome teeth and bones, haunting the deep with our shrieks and groans. We were the ghosts on a sunken ship, drowned sailors on a reckless trip, haunting our gruesome teeth and bones, haunting the deep with our shrieks and groans.
Now this song's a true story. The reason we know this song is a true story is because it was published in a newspaper. And they never lie. It was near the town of Pelham, one dark and dreary day. The local lads were in the tavern,
Seven time away,
when in there walked a stranger who disturbed their contemplation, for they decided that his facial features needed rearranging. Well, now what's your name, fair stranger? We've not seen you in town. He answers, David Disher, and I'm a
man of some renown.
says Patrick. Well, now Disher, lest you think we've been remiss, they call me Scrappin' Paddy, and this here is me, Fist. So,
Fight like a wildcat, learn your lesson. Up jumps Paddy with a finger missing. Poor wee Fist, one finger less for £7.10, 'twill scarce be missed. Fight like a wildcat, learn your lesson. Up jumps Paddy with a finger missing. Poor wee Fist, wait bloody mess for £7.10, 'twill scarce be missed.
Paddy's finger will scarce be missed out. Well, now a room of rowdy roisters, swinging aft and fore. Disher takes a nasty knock and
Sprawls upon the floor.
now Paddy pounces all too slow, and for 1 second lingers. So Disher grabs his hand and sets his teeth to Paddy's finger. So,
Fight like a wildcat, learn your lesson. Up jumps Paddy with a finger missing. Poor wee Fist, one finger less for £7.10, 'twill scarce be missed. Fight like a wildcat, learn your lesson. Up jumps Paddy with a finger missing. Poor wee Fist, wait bloody mess for £7.10, 'twill scarce be missed.
Paddy's finger will scarce be missed. So Paddy seeks out legal counsel down in muddy York. Fighting may be Paddy's line, but
Missing parts his lawyer's work.
so Disher is persuaded for fear of disputation to compensate in full poor Paddy's disindigitation. Now Paddy gets his £7.10, a compensation which convinces
for £7.10 'twill scarce be missed. Fight like a wildcat, learn your lesson on jumps Paddy with a finger, missing wormy fist. Big bloody mess for £7.10 'twill scarce be missed.
Paddy's finger will scarce be missed.
For £7.10 'twill scarce be missed. Paddy's finger will not be missed.
Did try to do in 10 minutes what usually takes 2.5 hours. And big thanks to Jason and everybody else who helped out running cables and doing everything else. And thanks for coming to listen. So we're gonna do a brand new song right now. Brand new. We did this song for the first time, and when we were over. We did this song for the first time about a month and a half ago in Scotland. We debuted it in Scotland, a little town called Irvine. And it went over really well because this song has whiskey in it. And it went over very well in Scotland.
It did, and actually the second time we did it was 2 nights later. We were down in Yorkshire, back in England, and we did this song, and it was a really big hit in Yorkshire because it's about getting whiskey without paying for it.
But see, what we've learned spending all this time in the UK is that a Yorkshireman is a Scot with the generosity removed.
None of our friends from Yorkshire here today, I hope?
Not anymore. Yeah, they're still here.
They're just waiting for us backstage now.
Yeah. But no, this is a song about. I read this in a diary of a guy who actually worked in a lumber camp in northeastern Ontario, back around the turn of the century, about 1900 or so. And it's a scam that they used to pull sometimes in the lumber camps, because up in the lumber camps, you usually didn't get paid till the end of the season, and so the trick was to sneak off into the tavern and get a little drop of something to drink when you didn't have any money with which to purchase it. And this is a scam that they used to pull, apparently occasionally with some success. So that's what this song's about. It's called Whiskey Without.
We've been working all week and the boys need a drink. A couple quarts of whiskey, we'd be in the pink, but we got no money and there's nothing to sell, and a lumberjack's credit is worthless.
3 long months we've been cutting down the pine, but we won't get our money for 6 weeks' time. Tonight there's no whiskey, says young Willie Klein, and we got no money to spend. I says, fetch me a kettle and a lesson you'll learn how a clever lumberjack keeps the money that he earns. Old Keller taught me this, I'll teach you in turn. We're off to McCafferty's bar.
We've been working all week and the boys need a drink. A couple quarts of whiskey, we'd be in the pink, but we got no money and there's nothing to sell, and a lumberjack's credit is worthless. Yep.
Do you think a lumberjack is no grain and all brawn? Are you thinking that the drink we got was all gone? Well, we had 2 quarts of water in the kettle all along, and what's left is 3/5 whiskey. We've been working all week, now boys have a drink. Here is your whiskey, now we're in the pit. We'll drink even when there's no money out, but for a sly lumberjack gets his whiskey without. We've been working all week, now boys have a drink. Here is your whiskey, now we're in the pit. We'll drink even when there's no money about, for a sly lumberjack gets his whiskey without. Go!
By the drive shed behind the parked cars, I can still see the moonlight on Billy's old guitar, and me, just a young kid, listening for the groove, watching as he changed the chords and see how his fingers move. Don't let the old song slip away. When the old folks used to play Saturday night at Hardwood Lake, the fiddle and the old guitar would make the floorboards bounce, the room go around. One more couple for the last breakdown. Don't let that music slip away. A teenage kid from the city, I spent my summers in these hills. Pick up trucks and pretty girls and all the teenage thrills. But for me, the real romance is out on the old dance floor, kicking up our heels while the fiddles squeal till we couldn't dance no more. Don't let the old song slip away. Remember how we danced when the old folks used to play Saturday night at Hardwood Lake. The fiddle and the old guitar would make the floorboards bounce, the room go round. One more couple for the last breakdown. Don't let that music slip away. But here I am, I'm a one-man band. I've been singing for 20 years. I play my guitar in the downtown bars, but nobody really hears. So sometimes I'll slip in an old song if no one's looking my way, and then I'm back once more on the old dance floor, and I can hear the fiddle play. Song slip away. Remember how we danced when the old folks used to play Saturday night at Hardwood Lake. The fiddle and the old guitar would make the floorboards bounce, the room go round. One more couple for the last breakdown. Don't let that music slip away. Don't let that music slip away. Don't let that music slip away.
So maybe we'll just stick with that strategy. No, this being an example of the fine sort of diplomacy that led to the war in the first place, of course. But nonetheless, this is a song. This is a story that is supposed to have taken place during the War of 1812, and it's one of these stories that does arise in wartime occasionally. I bet a lot of you can think of similar stories where just for a moment, somewhere in the middle of in the heat of battle, in the heat of conflict, something a little bit more human occurs that temporarily transcends the hostilities. And this is one of those kinds of stories. It's called, it's supposed to have taken place on Lake Ontario about 2 weeks after the death of Sir Isaac Brock, and it's called The Commodore's Compliments.
There's a yarn to board, a tale of honor from the days when against the states we warred. The decent act of a decent man, and I know what I tell, for I'm the last to choke gunpowder smoke in the War of 1812. We've been sailing in a convoy out of Lake Ontario. Our ship, she was the Moira, and we had a sloop in tow. There was Yankee sail aplenty, we all knew upon the lee. To come up through the guns of a Yankee ship was a chance we'd have to take.
It's a hard road life we hold, all of us duty bound. We eat, drink, and rarely think beyond what the task allows. And there's a generous strand in every man, whether he will or not. So here's a pail of Canadian ale to a man who paused for thought.
Full 40 miles to Kingston yet, when the big lake went to glass, and the smothering snow began to fall. We were dead calm, thick and fast. The shrouds hung slack and empty, no chance to make harbor now. The snow fell heavy as drunken sleep, and we couldn't see a sturge of prow. As we peered around in a sea of white, a menacing darkness loomed, and the slowest death, a Yankee warship ranged up into view. 'Twas Commodore Chauncey's flagship, the Oneida brig of war. We knew she stole the Simcoe wind just a couple of days before.
It's a hard road life we hold, all of us duty bound. We eat, drink, and rarely think beyond what the task allows. But there's a generous strand in every man, whether he will or not. So here's a pail of Canadian ale to a man who paused for thought.
She couldn't have been 10 fathoms off. She loomed like a mountainside, her flag hovering like an angry eye, and her guns were all primed. Fair grace for we, for a hail of shots, for double our weight she bore. But before a single flint was struck, we heard our captain roar. Pray stand away from the sloop we tow, there's precious cargo there. We'll cut her loose to drift the league, then we'll fight you fair and square. We fear you not, nor our own demise, it's rather the sloop we mind. What's in her hold is worth much more than both our ships combined.
It's a hard road life we hold, all of us duty bound. We eat, drink, and rarely think beyond what the task allows. But there's a generous strand in every man, whether he will or not. So here's a pail of Canadian ale to a man who paused for thought.
We care not what you transport, you will neither pass nor run. You're in no place to bargain, we outgun you 2 to 1. But in the name of God, our captain cried, do not go so hard. Are you so brass-bound that you cannot think like a man in this regard? These 3 weeks dead is General Brock, and laid beneath the ground. Our sloop carries his possessions, and to Guernsey we are bound. His sword, his plate, his uniform, his papers, books, and arms. Our charge is to convey them back to Guernsey without harm. The stars and stripes from our main peak hung, the breeze just come. and the massive brakes swung just enough to present us all 8 guns. If it died the effects of Sir Isaac Brock, our what should you convey? The Commodore's compliments to you all. We'll meet another day.
It's a hard road, life we hoe, all of us duty bound. We eat, drink, and rarely think beyond what the task allows. But there's a generous strand in every man, whether he will or not. So here's a pail of Canadian ale to a man who paused for thought. It's a hard road, life we hoe, all of us duty bound. We eat, drink, and rarely think beyond what the task allows. But there's a generous strand in every man, whether he will or not. So here's a pail of Canadian ale to a man who paused for thought.
Commodore's compliments.
I'll tell you a tale of a woman, bold and her deed of honest daring. Flora Secord was American, born in the state of Massachusetts, but she made her home in Canada and proved so faithful to us.
There's American guns and 500 men, so the warning must be given. And Laura Ingersoll Secord was a stalwart heart to brave the heat and the flies and the swamp to warn Colonel Fitzgibbon.
There's soldiers pounding at the door and they come from across the border. American officers march inside, it's food and drink they've ordered. In comfort they have dined and drunk, their own success they've toasted. But they pay no heed to the woman who hears their plan, so idly posted.
There's American guns and 500 men, so the warning must be given. And Laura Ingersoll Secord was a stalwart heart to brave the heat and the flies in the swamp to warn Colonel Fitzgibbon.
Oh, James, I've overheard it all, a surprise attack they're making. Fitzgibbon, they intend to smash his men for prisoners taking. James, a warning never you'll take with your wounded knee and shoulder. I myself must carry it past the sentries and the soldier.
There's American guns and 500 men, so the warning must be given. And Laura Ingersoll Secord was a stalwart heart to brave the heat and the flies in the swamp to warn Colonel Fitzgibbon.
It's an all-day tramp to the British camp by way of shipmen's corners. There's snakes and flies and sweat in her eyes. There is no respite for her. She's lost her shoes in the muck of the bog. Her feet are torn and blistered. But there's many a soldier lad to be spared if the message be delivered.
There's American guns and 500 men, so the warning must be given. And Laura Ingersoll Secord was a stalwart heart to brave the heat and the flies in the swamp to warn Colonel Fitzgibbon.
So all you Yankee soldier lads who dare to cross our border, thinking to save us from ourselves, usurping British order.
There's women and men, Canadians, all of every rank and station, to stand on guard and keep us free from Yankee domination. There's American guns and 500 men, so the warning must be given. And Laura Ingersoll Secord was a stalwart heart to brave the heat and the flies in the swamp to warn Colonel Fitzgibbon. And Laura Ingersoll Secord was a stalwart heart who braved the heat and the flies and the swamp to warn Colonel Fitzgibbon.
wiry man from the Canada West, from the old island, and his work. When the day was done, he was off to town to have some fun. He's standing by the hotel door. He says, "Now lads, I'm back for more. You know the pleasure of Jack the Green, cracking skulls and beating brains."
Jack the Green with a drop of the crather. Jack the Green, there was none any braver. Fist from down, voice fell around like a big any damn man here.
Join in the fun.
Jack the Green with a drop of the crather. Jack the Green, there was none any braver. Fist from down, voice fell around like a lick any damn man here.
Says, "Don't you know it's past midnight and you've had a drink and you've had your fight? Tomorrow it's the Lord's own day, so grab your hat and we'll be on our way." But 16 men were laid in the lad. Well, Jack the Green, when he puts his hat, he says, "Now that's when I get so sweet, I'll be back again in another week."
Jack the Green with a drop of the crather. Jack the Green, there was none any braver. Fist from down, voice fell around like a lick any damn man here. Jack the Green with a drop of the crather. Jack the Green, there was none any braver. Fist from down, voice fell around like a lick any damn man here. Jack the Green with a drop of the crather. Jack the Green, there was none any braver. Fist come down, voice fell around like a lick any damn man here.
There's no dusty fiddler playing down by the docks. He used to be a sailor, but he'll go no more to sea. Too many times he stared into the sunset. His blue eyes are bleary and he says he cannot see. He'll tell you we're losing sight of the shoreline, drifting down the channel to the wide open sea. Losing sight of the hard work and the good times, losing sight of the dreams that used to bring us home from sea. crazy. You wonder if his dreams could bring us home from sea.
Chasing home the brindle cow. Shrewd and Catherine caught his measure, sewed him up with the wedding vow. Catherine works with thread and needle, Donald hides down in the hay. Asks him if he wants to marry, words that he's too shy to say. Ho! Suit and thigh-high gumboots, Donald leaves his shoes at home, hoping they will keep their squeak for dancing when the preaching's done. Awkward Donald's at the altar, in his pocket there's a hole. Catherine searching for the ring, pulls off his boot and out it rolls. Catherine, would you do it again? Fall in love with an awkward man. Catherine, would you do it again? Fall in love with an awkward man. Catherine, would you do it again? Fall in love with an awkward man. Catherine, would you do it again? Fall in love with an awkward man. The dancing's done, the keg is bung, the newlyweds have gone aloft. Awkward Donald moves too quickly suddenly. He finds he's caught his foot in Catherine's nightgown pocket. One more time with good intention, Catherine tries to circumvent her awkward's misdirection. Catherine, would you do it again? Fall in love with an awkward man. Catherine, would you do it again? Fall in love with an awkward man. Catherine, would you do it again? Fall in love with an awkward man. Catherine, would you do it again? Fall in love with an awkward man. Ho! Chasing home the brindle cow. Shrewd and Catherine caught his measure. They've got 7 children now. Awkward Donald trips and stumbles when he's standing on his feet, but he's learned to thread the needle late at night between the sheets. Catherine, would you do it again? Fall in love with an awkward man. Catherine, would you do it again? Fall in love with an awkward man. Catherine, would you do it again? Fall in love with an awkward man. Catherine, would you do it again? Fall in love with an awkward man. Catherine, would you do it again? Fall in love with an awkward man. Catherine, would you do it again? Fall in love with an awkward man. Catherine, would you do it again? Fall in love with an awkward man. Catherine, would you do it again? Fall in love with an awkward man. Catherine, would you do it again? Fall in love with an awkward man. Catherine, would you do it again? Fall in love with an awkward man. Catherine, would you do it again? Fall in love with an awkward man. Catherine, would you do it again? Fall in love with an awkward
multi-instrumentalist on banjo, mandolin, guitar, penny whistle, harmonica, small engine repair, and real estate. From Pickering, that's Terry Young. Over at the far end, 11 and a half years with Tanglefoot. Been with us since January of 1994. From Toronto, that's Al Parrish. Over to my right, not the newest member of the band, but certainly the youngest. That is obvious, isn't it? You know, I'll tell you about Brian's first show with Tanglefoot was in England. We didn't really know each other very well. We met, had a rehearsal. 2 weeks later, we were on a plane. We landed in England, and we had about 2 days off before the first concert. So the first morning we were in England after we'd landed and gone to bed, you know, and then we got up the next morning, and the rest of us are all sitting around the table, you know, drinking coffee, staring off into space, as what we usually do when we're not playing music. So we're sitting out there, and as we are, and it's quiet, you know, as it usually is in the morning. Brian comes down, and he says, does anybody want to go for a run? And I don't think any of us even ever answered him. I think, you know, we're all kind of holding their mugs, staring off into space, thinking, run. From what? Anyway, from Owen Sound, Brian Weirmeyer.
In the middle, our senior statesman. Steve has been at this for 17 years, and not only does he do all the things that you see and hear him do, he can also find chocolate if it is anywhere within 3 kilometers. So if anybody's holding out, forget it, he'll be all over you. And more importantly still, he holds down first place in the best hair in the band competition. From Owen Sound, that's Steve Ritchie on guitar.
And over here to my left, the newest member of Tanglefoot, and the guy who plays the evil instrument. You know, isn't that true? The fiddle is the devil's instrument, isn't it? Everyone knows that. It's in all the folklore. Well, if that's true, look at this. That thing is a menace.
Wicked altogether.
If you're interested in one, they're available at Walmart. Just go in, look for the dark side, you'll find it.
666 this week, I think.
Well, speaking of the evils of the fiddle and the activities that go on around fiddle music, well, okay, let me put it this way. If a young woman goes to a dance where there's fiddling going on, now let me put that another way. When parents send their daughters to dances, they're anxious for the girls to keep their feet on the floor so that they don't lose their soul. Which, according to some legends, could happen if a girl should find herself dancing with a tall, handsome stranger. Especially if he's got horns under his top hat and claws under his gloves and
hoofs under his shoes.
Right, and tucked neatly down his pants, a long bifurcated tail. Anyway, should a young woman find herself dancing with this stranger, and should her feet happen to leave the floor while they're dancing, the legends say she could lose her soul. This is not the case with our girl, Jenny Wren.
thirst on a soul that's fulfilled. I'm a middle-aged demon with an empire to build. I've got souls to burn and big negotiations. I've got no time to enjoy my own temptations. So many lesser devils to keep in line. Beelzebub, Balbereth, Gressel, Verine, dirty Asmodeus, nasty Astaroth, inciting all the others to idleness and sloth.
No one tells me anything.
What? The fiddle was screeching, the music was reaching down through your body and up to the sky. The devil endeavored to have you forever, but you didn't know you knew how to fly.
Plays her violin. There's a ring on her finger. Listens as she plays. The light holds her in a warm embrace. She thinks of the man who promised her the night. Come with me, Emmeline. We'll be keepers of the light. Emmeline, let your fiddle be your boat, and with every note you play, you'll be sailing back again to the days when you were young. Tune your ear and play your fiddle, Emmeline, you'll be sailing.
It's a cool night in November, and an old three-masted scooter seeks the east side of the sands bit, the calm of the inner bay. When she's fast upon the bar, lashed by all the fury, breeze and sleet and snow, all the rage above Lake Erie. With ice way down her keel again, the old ship will never sail again. All awash, and there's a business store to starboard, and all putting in the wild wind to take the men to safety. And her captain sees the peril when the heaving hull beneath them, so he cries in desperation, we'll tie ourselves to the rigging, eat and wait for the freezing death, flash to the rigging of a broken man. The conductor, she was a fine old ship, but she never will sail again. The men all pray, but the hope is gone. The schooner slashed, but in the dawn, the welding fire in the woman's face, with a good strong hand she'll lead them all ashore. Oh, and the gale Becker will see them safe once. In the shelter of the sand dunes, there stands a lonely cabin, where a woman called the angel awaits from the trouble heavy seas and hellish weather. O'Leary's claimed so many funner hidden bars and shoals. But the Long Point has an angel who watches over the water, and fortunate sailor who feels her steady hand. Ain't been wait for a freezing day, lashed in the rigging of a broken wreck. The conductor, she was a fine old ship, but she never will sail again. The man all brave, but the hope is gone. The schooner smashed, fought in the dawn. The welcome fire of a woman's face, with a good strong hand she laid them all ashore. Oh, Abigail Becker will see them safe once more. Old Deary has a temper, but Abigail defies her. Abigail, the angel, regards the Long Point shore. Now, halfway through the final frame, he runs up the bar. We're set for Jeannie Clark, a score of 3-1. But Taylor and the Colonel, they were all in charge. A man standing in his head, the task be far too large. No fire and their keepers, their cities and their fires. But farmers are down so fast, you need to get inspired. They need to be resistant, they need to be set loose. They need to use a tactic to protect you from the bruise. The Dutchmen were saying, the wings that played up wide, they charged as one into the fray of battle. 7 aside in desperation, they pressed on for more. They wanted to show them the boys from the Bruce knew the score. Now Wesley Ashley captain, he led the team goals. He led the pair before each game, he wants their heart and soul. The pros are from a corner, the ex-buddy is Gage. But Jim Rivera's a young again, he thought them all the same. Your Marshall, Saunders, Thomas and their fruits. Wesley never met the devil, 'cause his name was on the Bruce. He played his life in Ireland, journeying for his friends all alone. Jim was surely up to him. The Dutchmen were saying, the wings that played a wide, they charged as one into the fray of battle. 7 aside in desperation, they pressed on for more. It wasn't to show them the boys from the Bruce knew the score.
Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.